All right, let's get into the heart of what's happening with the Eagles right now, and why the coaching search has become such a hot topic. The biggest story in this whole situation is the sudden wave of offensive coordinator candidates stepping away from the process. At first glance, it might look like the Eagles' job has suddenly become less appealing. Like there's something happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. Some people think Nick Sirianni has too much control over the offense, or that Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie are calling too many of the shots, and that is scaring candidates off. Others believe it is simply the reality of the current market, where every team is hunting for coordinators and head coaches, making the competition more intense than ever. But the angle that really catches my attention is the idea that some candidates might be viewing the Eagles' position as a stepping stone to something bigger. Think about it. The Eagles are one of the best teams in the league, with a roster that is loaded with talent and a real chance to win immediately. If you come in and succeed, you are instantly in a position to be considered for a head coaching job the following year. That is a rare opportunity, and it might be the reason why some coaches are stepping away. If they believe Nick Sirianni's job is not secure, they may prefer to wait for the chance to take over the team themselves, rather than being the offensive coordinator under him. It is a bold strategy, but it could be the reality of how these coaches are thinking. When you look at the Eagles' track record, it is hard to argue that this is not an attractive job. The roster is stacked, and the team has consistently been competitive. If you come in and install your system, you have a real shot at winning right away. The problem may not be the team itself, but the environment around it. Coaches may be worried about being micromanaged or not having the freedom to bring in their own staff. That is a real concern, especially when you consider that many coaches want to bring in their own offensive line coach or other staff members they trust. If the candidates feel like they will not be allowed to build the staff they want, they may decide the job is not worth it. Another big factor is reputation. The Eagles have a strong identity and a winning culture, but there is also a narrative that the front office can be difficult to work with. If that perception spreads among coaches and agents, it becomes a serious issue. In the NFL, perception matters a lot, especially when you are dealing with high-profile candidates. If a coach thinks the job is risky, they may not want to gamble on it. The rumor mill can do a lot of damage, and once a narrative is established, it can be hard to shake. That could be part of what is happening here, and it might explain why the coaching search has felt so messy. On top of that, the available candidates may not be what Eagles fans hoped for. Names that were trending as likely fits have shifted toward other teams, and that can make it feel like the Eagles are being passed over. It is frustrating for fans who want to see a clear plan and a strong hire, but the reality is that there are many moving parts. Coaches have to weigh stability, staff control, and the direction of the franchise before making a decision. That is why the Eagles may need to take more time to find the right fit, even if it is not what fans want to hear. Now, while all of this is happening, the Eagles have also been making internal moves. One of the most notable updates is the promotion of Joe Casper. Casper has been working with the secondary for a while, and now he is stepping into a bigger role. This move signals that the Eagles are trying to keep continuity in the coaching staff, even as they search for a new offensive coordinator. It is also a vote of confidence in the way he has helped develop players. While some people question his impact on certain players, there is no denying that others have shown major growth under his coaching. That kind of development does not go unnoticed, and it is part of why he has earned respect within the organization. Casper's promotion is also tied to Christian Parker moving up to defensive coordinator. Parker's promotion is another example of the Eagles maintaining stability on the defensive side of the ball. The Eagles have always been known for a strong defensive identity, and keeping that consistency is crucial, even with questions around some younger players. The organization seems confident in the direction of the defense. Casper stepping up into a bigger role shows that the Eagles are committed to investing in internal talent and trusting coaches who have been part of the system for a while now. The biggest question on everyone's mind is the quarterback situation. The chatter about Jalen Hurts has been constant, and the trade scenarios have been flying around social media nonstop. The most ridiculous idea I have seen is the notion of trading Hurts for Joe Burrow, with the Eagles sending multiple first-round picks on top. That kind of speculation is not grounded in reality, and it only adds to the chaos. The narrative created by the media often leads to wild rumors, and this is a perfect example of that. It is easy to get caught up in the hype, but the truth is that These ideas are often far from realistic. The reality is that Jalen Hurts is not the problem. He has proven he can win at the highest level, and he is a Super Bowl MVP for a reason. Yes, he has had down years and injuries, but that is part of the game. Joe Burrow has a similar situation, with injuries and an offensive line that has not always been consistent. The difference is that Burrow has never been able to stay healthy for a full season, and that is a huge risk. If the Eagles trade for him and the results are worse, the franchise could be set back. For years, you are not guaranteed a better outcome just because you are swapping quarterbacks. At the end of the day, the Eagles are a strong team with a talented roster, but the coaching search and the uncertainty around the future are what people are questioning. The quarterback is part of the conversation, but the real issues may lie in the environment and the front office dynamics. The Eagles have been successful with Hurts, and they have a system that can win. The challenge is maintaining that success while navigating a coaching search. That may not be as smooth as fans hoped. All right, let's keep going and dig deeper into what the Eagles are facing right now, because the coaching search is just the surface of a much larger conversation. The biggest thing that stands out is the perception of the Eagles' front office and how it is impacting the team's ability to attract high-level candidates. When you have a team that has been successful and has a winning culture, you would expect that to be a selling point. But the problem is that success can also create a reputation of control. The Eagles have built a strong identity, and that identity is a big part of why they have been successful. The question now is whether that identity is also becoming a barrier for new coaches who want to bring their own vision. One of the most talked about issues is whether the Eagles' front office is too involved in coaching decisions. It is one thing to have a clear direction and a strong identity, but it is another thing to limit a coach's ability to build and run their own system. For a coordinator, especially an offensive coordinator, the ability to call plays and shape the offense is a major part of the job. If candidates feel like they will be working in a restricted environment, it can be a deal breaker. And when you combine that with the uncertainty around Nick Sirianni's future, it can make the job even less appealing. Coaches want stability and clarity, and if they think the head coach might not be around for long, they may decide to wait for a better opportunity. At the same time, it is important to remember that coaching searches are not always smooth. Even for the best teams, the NFL is a messy market, and sometimes it takes time to find the right fit. The Eagles may simply be experiencing the reality of the coaching carousel. Teams can be patient, and candidates can be selective, but because the Eagles are a contender, the expectation is that they should be able to move quickly and secure a top-tier candidate. When that does not happen, it creates frustration among fans and fuels speculation. That is why the narrative around the coaching search has become so loud, because people want answers and they want them now. Another layer to this is the long-term future of the roster. The Eagles have a talented team, but the reality is that every roster changes over time. Key players age, contracts expire, and injuries happen. Coaches are aware of this, and they want to know what the future looks like. If there is uncertainty around the core of the team, it makes it harder to commit to a job. Coaches want to know they will have the pieces to compete, not just for one season, but for multiple years. If the roster looks like it could decline, or if there are major questions about the direction of the team, that can be a deterrent. The media environment in Philadelphia also plays a role. The Eagles have one of the most intense fan bases in the league, and the media attention is constant. That can be great when things are going well, but it can also create pressure and distractions. Coordinators and coaches are not just dealing with the job itself. They are dealing with the constant scrutiny that comes with being part of a high-profile organization. Every decision is analyzed, every mistake is magnified, and every rumor spreads quickly. For some coaches, that level of attention is a challenge they want to avoid, especially if they are looking for a situation where they can quietly build something without being under a microscope. Now let's move back to the quarterback conversation, because that is the headline that always dominates the discussion. Jalen Hurts is at the center of every rumor, and the idea of trading him for a quarterback like Joe Burrow keeps coming up. The logic behind the Burrow idea is simple. He is an elite quarterback, and the Eagles could potentially upgrade the position, but the reality is that Burrow comes with significant risk. His injury history is not a minor issue, and he has never been able to stay healthy for a full season. If the Eagles were to trade for him and he misses time, the cost of that trade would be enormous. It would likely set the team back 4 years, and there is no guarantee that the results would be better than what they have with Hurts. Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, has proven he can lead a team to success. He has shown he can win in the playoffs, and he has the toughness and leadership that are hard to find. Even if he has a down year, he still has the ability to be a top quarterback in this league. The problem is not necessarily Hurts, the problem is the surrounding context. If the offensive line is weak, or if the coaching staff is not maximizing the offense, Hurts will look worse than he is. The team needs to be built around him, and that means investing in the right pieces and making smart decisions in the offseason. Another key factor is the uncertainty around A.J. Brown. Brown is one of the best receivers in the league, and if he is not in Philadelphia next season, it changes the entire dynamic of the offense. Coaches want to know what they are working with, and if the roster is uncertain, it makes it harder to commit to a job. If the Eagles lose a player like Brown, it could impact the team's ability to compete at the highest level. That kind of uncertainty can scare off candidates, especially those who want to come in and immediately implement a high-level offense. This is why the idea of trading for a quarterback like Burrow is so far-fetched. You are talking about giving up multiple first-round picks and potentially disrupting the team's chemistry and identity. The Eagles have built a winning culture, and it is not something you want to throw away for a gamble. The team needs stability and continuity, and Hurts provides that. If the Eagles can keep the core intact and build around it, they have a chance to remain contenders for years to come. That does not mean the Eagles should never consider change. If there is a better path, they should explore it. But it has to be a realistic and well-thought-out plan. You cannot make moves based on hype or speculation. The team has to make decisions that align with the long-term vision, and right now, the best path seems to be working with the talent they have, strengthening the roster, and finding a coordinator who can maximize the offense without disrupting the culture. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think the Eagles should do? Should they stay the course with Jalen Hurts and focus on finding the right coordinator? Or should they explore a trade for a quarterback like Joe Burrow? And how do you feel about the way the coaching search has been handled so far? Let me know your thoughts, because this is a conversation that is far from over, and the off-season is only getting started. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments and let's talk birds. Whispers racing through league circles suggest something seismic may be forming behind closed doors. Multiple insiders believe the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots are engaged in advanced conversations over a trade that could reshape the balance of power in the NFL. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the mere idea of these two franchises aligning on a blockbuster move has sent executives, agents, and rival front offices into speculation mode. At the center of the storm is Eagles general manager Howie Roseman, widely known for his aggressive instincts and willingness to strike when the market least expects it. Sources close to the situation hint that Roseman sees a rare opportunity to capitalize on New England's transitional phase, while the Patriots, in turn, may be looking to accelerate their retooling. With proven assets and valuable draft capital, the names involved are being guarded with extreme secrecy, but the tone around the league suggests this is no routine depth move. What makes the rumor even more intriguing is the philosophical contrast between the franchises. Philadelphia has built a reputation for bold, win-now decisions, while New England has historically favored long-term structure and discipline. A trade between the two would signal a notable shift, particularly for the Patriots, who appear more open than ever to reshaping their core. Some executives privately speculate the deal could involve a high-impact player, capable of changing the identity of an offense or defense overnight. Agents monitoring the situation describe a sense of urgency, as if both sides believe timing is critical. If the framework truly exists, the announcement could drop without warning, catching fans and analysts off guard. Until then, the rumor continues to grow, fueled by silence from both camps and the unmistakable fingerprints of Roseman's trademark boldness. If this trade materializes, it won't just be another transaction. It will be a statement heard across the league. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.